So I figured we would take a little bit of time and do an update on Meniere's and Cochlear Implant since the last video. So we're just sitting here in the Mercedes. I figured maybe this is like my sound booth. I figured it'd be nice and quiet in here. It's kind of windy, and yeah. So anyway, sitting in the Mercedes, made myself some notes, try to keep myself on track here. So in the last video, we talked about surgery and, you know, cochlear implant and all that kind of stuff. So it's been a couple months, I guess, since that video. And it's been 4 months since the surgery. So surgery was back in October of 2024, and we are now in February of 2025. February 28th, 2025 is the end of February. You'll be watching this 1st of March, 2nd of March. Anyway, so first thing I wanted to address is tinnitus. So after surgery, I had tinnitus still, and I still do now. I would say it's not near as bad as it was when I had Meniere's. So, you know, it's definitely better, and it's gotten better since the surgery. It has improved since right after the surgery. Right after the surgery, I mean, even right after the surgery, it was better than it was prior to surgery. And I did ask my doctor, would the tinnitus go away? And she said it depends. You know, some people it does, some people it doesn't, but it is better. Now I would say what the difference being since right after surgery, kind of right after surgery, what would happen, anything that kind of elevated my heart rate kind of made the tinnitus get louder. It was really weird. And then it would kind of go back down. Now it's just constant. You know, it doesn't do that up and down. And I guess that was something to do with healing process. I don't know. But yeah, so it's less than it was with Meniere's, but it's still there. Now, that being said, when I have the cochlear implant on, I don't notice the tinnitus. You know, if there's any ambient noise, I don't really notice the tinnitus. I mean, give me a second. I don't really hear it. So, and it's pretty quiet in here. So, the only time I really notice it is if I don't have the cochlear implant on, and really the only time I'm not wearing this is when I go to sleep. So I take it off to go to sleep, and when I wake up in the morning, you know, I put it back on. So it's the absence of any ambient noise, like anything, that makes me hear that tinnitus. You know, because when I take the cochlear implant off, the only thing I hear on that side is tinnitus. You know, there's no other input because there's no hearing there. You know, the cochlear is the only source of hearing on that side. So hope that makes sense. Vertigo. So I have not had any vertigo. I think the last vertigo was 6 days after surgery. I covered that in the last video. Still haven't had any vertigo. No, if you're Meniere, if you have Meniere's, you know, even there's some days when you won't have full-blown vertigo, but you'll have, like, your balance is off, but it's not full spinning vertigo. I haven't had any days like that. You know, nothing. So, you know, that's great. As far as balance, I would say I'm probably 100% back to normal. You know, when I get up in the morning, my balance is just slightly off, but I can't say that it wasn't like that prior. I get up real fast out of bed, and always have, and, you know, immediately start walking, and those first couple steps, I can tell my balance is just not quite perfect, and then it's there, you know. And I can't say it wasn't like that before surgery. You know, I just don't recall. One thing I do notice, like, if I've got my head you know, straight up, and I do that, that feels pretty normal. That one, sometimes it feels more extreme than it is. I don't know why. I don't know if that'll stay like that. And then if I repeat that again, it feels normal. So it's like that first time of tilting your head over after it's been steady for a while. I think it's to the right. I feel like if I remember right, tilting it to the right. And it's not like it didn't do it when I tried to do it for camera. So it just seems to be sometimes. I'm guessing that will probably go away. I feel like there's still a lot of stuff healing in here, and probably still balance stuff working out. As far as I'd mentioned, the you know, fast movements and stuff with the eyes tracking, you know, not being able to track, like if I was running, you know, you wouldn't be able to focus, or walking, you know, your eyes can't focus. That's all back to normal now. I could run or do whatever and my eyes focus. I'd compared it to like having image stabilization turned off on a camera, and now my eyes track like they did before. So that's normal, or it feels normal. It feels back to normal again. Something new that has, well, first let me say, the feeling on the top of my ear is still slightly numb. You know, just comparing the sides, there is feeling here, but I can tell it's not as much feeling there as this one. Now, right after surgery, it was even more numb, so it's definitely improved. I don't notice it at all unless I like scratch my ear, and then I can tell. And then at that point, I kind of have to compare, because there is feeling here. I just feel it more doing it on this side, for whatever that's worth. I'm trying to just cover everything here. Also, something, and I think since it has improved, I think it'll continue to improve. When I talked to my doctor, she said 6 months to a year sometimes for everything to kind of get back to normal. So like I said, we're only 4 months past surgery. Something that has probably started happening in the past month is like moving of the ear, or like if I'm washing my hair, any kind of thing that kind of moves the ear kind of makes my tongue tingle. Like I said, that is just started happening in the past month. I'm guessing it's some kind of nerve healing that's going on there. I feel like my taste is still slightly off. Stuff seems to have kind of a slight metallic taste, and it's been like that since the surgery. I can't tell you if it's any better than it was, if it's improved any or not. I'm guessing altered taste is a common occurrence after the surgery. You know, reading up on it and talking to my doctor. Again, that's one of those things that can take 6 months to a year to get back to normal. And it's not something that bothers me at all. You know, it's not like it makes everything just taste awful or anything. There's just certain times that I can taste, I'm like, yeah, it kind of tastes a little metallic-y. I covered, let's see, I think that covers most of the Meniere's side of things. If you've got any specific questions on that, just leave a comment below and I'll try to address it. But I think that kind of covers all that. So we're going to jump over to the Cochlear. So I went with Cochlear for my Cochlear implant, and I'll kind of explain the process I went through on that. The audiologist that I went to, which is in the same building as, you know, the doctor that performed the surgery, she gave me 3 Cochlear, Med-EL, and Advanced Bionics. Gave me a big brochure, big booklet on all 3 of them. Kind of looked through them, did a lot of research online comparing them, and really I'll give you a couple things that pushed me in the direction I went to. Reading online, there wasn't anything really that pushed me anyway, other than I did see that Cochlear had less recalls than Med-EL and Advanced Bionics, at least from the research I did. And last thing I want is, you know, the internal device to get recalled or something and I have to have surgery again. So that was kind of one thing that pushed me a little bit towards Cochlear. The other thing that pushed me a little bit there was in my research, it seemed like they were maybe a little more backwards compatible with the internal piece and the external processor, with being, you know, them supporting, you know, so if they come out with a new external processor, it seemed like they had good backwards compatibility to, you know, not have to have surgery again to update the internal piece to be able to update the external piece, if that makes sense. And then I heard, you know, or not I heard, I read quite a bit that was saying, you know, check with your audiologist and see what they do the most of, because, you know, if they do more of one brand, they're probably going to be more familiar with it, and your cochlear experience can have a lot to do, how good of a cochlear experience you have can have a lot to do with your audiologist and the adjustments that they make. So I checked with them and they do Cochlear the most. And so that was kind of like the final thing that pushed me to Cochlear. You know, if that's what they're the most familiar with, I felt like that was going to give me the best experience with them being able to support me and, you know, make adjustments that would give me the best hearing. Because, you know, when you get this, it's not going to immediately sound great. You know, there is going to be adjustments that have to be made to, and your brain is going to have to learn how to interpret the signals. And as it's learning, you know, you're going back up for follow-up appointments, you know, doing these hearing tests where they play different sounds and stuff, and they make adjustments that based on how you're able to hear it, adjust frequencies, adjust, you know, volumes of frequencies and all that stuff to tune it, to fine tune it, you know, of how your brain is able to hear those frequencies and interpret them. And so, you know, I think I've had, man, I can't remember, 5 or 6 adjustments since I've had it. And each time it gets a little better. And it's still, I call it kind of robotic-y and kind of hard to understand, a little bit distorted and robotic-y. I would say the hearing with it is probably, the hearing with it is better than my Meniere's ear was. So it's definitely an improvement, but it's not like you could whisper a word in my ear and I'm going to 100% interpret it correctly. The last visit I had, they did a hearing test, you know, where they block off the hearing to this ear and then they play sounds to the cochlear, you know, to this ear. And, you know, the first test was just single words, and I did not do very good on that. They didn't tell me what my comprehension was on that. The next one was sentence. So they would play a sentence and I'd have to repeat the sentence back. And I got that 61%, which he said is really good for as long as I've had the cochlear to, you know, get it that good. And the sentence is just much easier than a random word because there's some context there. So if you can make out, you know, maybe 2 or 3 words in the sentence, it makes the rest of the sentence, maybe some of the words you didn't hear quite clearly, makes them make more sense. As far as training, you know, from what I've read, you know, the more you use the cochlear and the more you kind of train yourself on hearing, the better experience you will have and the quicker your brain will learn how to interpret it. So I'll tell you what I've been doing to train. The audiologist told me, you know, the best way, because I've got good hearing in this ear. So the best training I can do is to have only this side. So the easiest way to do that is streaming. So you stream something from your phone to the cochlear, and then, you know, this ear is not hearing it to, you know, give yourself an advantage, I guess, of hearing it correctly and not hearing it how the cochlear is hearing it, for your brain to then figure out how it actually should sound it. I'm hoping this is making sense and I'm not complicating things, but I did read. Reading out loud is good because your brain knows how you should sound, and as you're reading words, it knows how those words should sound, which I've been doing that, reading out loud. Again, though, I've got a good ear, and you know, it's doing the majority of the hearing, I would say, or at least the correct hearing. So streaming is the best way to do it. They recommended an app. I didn't really like it. So I did some research. I started using an app called the Hear app, Hearapp, Hear app. And that's on an iPhone. And it basically just plays a word and you select the correct word. So it'll play a word and you select, you know, what you think that word was. And then as I kind of progressed through that and it got a little bit better and I could hear a little more, I started listening to songs that I know the lyrics to, you know, songs that I knew, because ultimately I would love to be able to listen to music through it. And so, you know, music sounds so distorted. Guitars don't sound correctly, drums sound weird. I mean, everything sounds off. And so I started listening to songs, and once I couldn't really do that at first because the instruments did so much distortion that you couldn't hear words well, because my goal was to be able to interpret words, to hear words in the songs and be able to say, oh, you know, that should be this word and that's this word, and you know, kind of go along with the song in my head, you know, singing the lyrics in my head of the song. So the first ones I did were songs that were not too busy, you know, that had vocals that really stood out, you know, like Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here was one of them. And, you know, that's got good, strong vocals with not a whole lot of overpowering instruments that are making the vocals hard to understand, if that makes sense. And I know that song, and I know how it should sound, and I know the words to this song, you know. So if you can think of a song that, you know, start putting together a playlist of songs that you know the vocals to, songs you know well, songs you know how they should sound, and just try to pick simple songs, you know, songs that are not, I don't know, you know, you just want songs that have good loud vocals. And then, you know, listen to them and see if you can pick out the words in them and understand them. And if you can, you know, make yourself a playlist and play through those songs. The other thing I found helpful was watching things with subtitles. YouTube's not a good one because the subtitles are always wrong, but I'm not going to say always wrong. They're notoriously wrong. I mean, they're hit and miss on whether they're going to be the right words or not. But if, you know, if you're watching a TV show or a movie or something, you know, stream it to your Cochlear, turn the subtitles on, and, you know, follow along, read along as those words are being said. And so that's the kind of things I found helpful. Yeah. And I think it's going to vary. You know, you can do some research on things. I just got to a point where the app, I kind of had went through all the stuff the app had to offer. And so I started doing the songs, and then I started doing, you know, TV shows or movies. You know, just if I was going to watch something on my phone, I just set it to stream to the Cochlear and turn subtitles on. And I felt like that was, you know, kind of a fun thing to do. You know, if I was going to be watching something anyway, might as well just use it as a time to train my brain, I guess. And yeah, so I think that's everything I had on my little sheet here on updates. Overall, I'm extremely happy with it. Even, if I take the cochlear off, my hearing is so much better than it was, even without the cochlear. The cochlear definitely helps. But even without the cochlear, my hearing is better than it was, in the fact that if you're familiar with Meniere's, the roaring noise that happens with Meniere's in your affected ear, it is so distracting, and it makes it difficult to process words, because not only you have that roaring noise in there, but words are so distracted or so distorted that if someone is talking to you, you're hearing clear over here, you're hearing very distorted over here, and you're having to interpret and filter out, the good stuff from this, or trying to, you have to filter out all the distorted stuff on your bad ear so that you can focus in on the good stuff from your good ear. And it's difficult. So just losing the hearing on this side was an improvement to my overall hearing. The only thing I guess that suffered was maybe directional hearing, because it was kind of weird, if some noise happened, again, before I got the cochlear, some noise happened on my left side, I'd hear it on my right side. And so it was kind of hard to interpret the direction of noises a little bit. But the cochlear has added that back. I can hear over here. So anyway, I think that's it. If you've got any specific questions, leave a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them. I've got a long road, I think, ahead of me to get, this fully trained. It's still, it's still distorted. It's still off, but each appointment is better. My next appointment's in 2 months. This is the furthest gap I've had. And I'm just trying to do as much training as I can of training that ear before my next appointment. That's been my goal through all of this, is I want the best experience possible from this. So I'm going to put some effort into it to make that happen. And I think it does require that. You can't just slap this thing on and expect perfect hearing without, some work to get it trained. And yeah. So if you're curious, so here is the cochlear. Here it is. It's pretty small, and I can, just taking it off, I can tell a huge difference in not having that hearing over here. I got 2 devices, so I have this one and a backup. They're the same device, it's just they give you 2, so if one breaks or you lose one, you have a backup device. At least that's how it worked where I went. I don't know if that's an insurance thing, or I don't know what that is, but that's what I got. I chose these same devices, and I can hear that tinnitus now. But yeah, this is it. It's got a removable battery on the bottom. I run 2 batteries. I actually have 4 batteries. They allow you to pick some accessories. I chose some extra batteries, and I'm only using 2 of them. I just rotate between 2. This is the magnetic piece. There is a magnetic little plate that's part of the internal cochlear piece, attached, I guess, to my skull, that this sticks to. So, get it. So, there it is. It's just dangling the cochlear, and it just sticks. The adhesion is pretty good on it. They have different strength magnets, and so we tried a couple different ones and ended up, I don't know what this one is. Let's see. It has a 4 on it, so I don't know if that means anything. But yeah, so if I'm running or something, it will eventually kind of, the ear part stays on just fine. This, you know, jogging or something that's a lot of movement, it will sometimes come off. What I've found is just a hat, just a normal, you know, baseball hat, baseball cap. It kind of fits. Let me put this back on. So this just hooks on your ear, and you know, that just sticks. The baseball cap kind of goes right over it, so I can wear a baseball cap and run, and it steadies this and holds it to where it doesn't come off. And I don't have, like I said, I don't have any issues with the ear part, the part that fits on my ear coming off. I chose the on the ear one. From what I was reading, the microphone or the quality seems to be a little better as far as the hearing. That was my research that said that. You know, may not be correct, but that the overall hearing quality was better on the ear one than the one. They have one that's just a little pod looking thing that just sticks, and so there's no wire or anything, it just sticks to the magnetic part, and so you don't have to have something sitting on your ear. Now, after having this one, I'm glad I did it, because I don't think I would want anything more bulky than the magnetic piece that's already on here, you know, stuck to my head. Especially, you know, if I was gonna run or something, you know, I feel like it would be hard to keep it on. So yeah, I'm happy with this one, and yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and subscribe for more. Like I said, leave a comment on any questions you might have. I'll try to do another update probably in a couple months and let y'all know how this is going. So yeah, and thanks for the thoughts and prayers, and yeah, again, thanks for watching.